Have you ever felt the world shifting under your feet so quietly that by the time you notice, you already feel like a stranger in it? Men everywhere are withdrawing, not because they've lost interest in connection, but because something inside them whispers that the cost of reaching out might be heavier than the comfort of staying silent. There's a haunting tension now, an invisible weight that makes even the simplest interaction feel like it carries the possibility of being judged, misunderstood, or punished. What used to be a heartbeat of courage before saying hello has transformed into a suffocating pause filled with fear of consequences that didn't exist years ago. These men aren't broken or afraid of women. They're exhausted by a world where intentions are doubted before they're even spoken. To them, the dating landscape feels less like a path toward connection and more like a tightrope stretched over uncertainty, where one wrong step could define them forever. But what changed in our culture that turned us simple? Is the conversation into a psychological gamble? Stay with me. The fear men carry today isn't rejection. It's the quiet terror of being misunderstood in a world that judges first and listens later. Whispers travel through friend groups and online spaces. Stories of men whose kindness was twisted into accusation, whose genuine intentions were reduced to screenshots and hashtags. These aren't dramatic headlines. They're quiet confessions, shared in late-night conversations, where men finally admit how deeply these moments scar them. One man told me he simply said, "You look nice today," and found himself explaining his tone, his posture, even his motives to HR. Another opened his heart to someone he truly liked, only to wake up and see his nervous smile turned into a viral creep encounter for strangers' entertainment. Whether these incidents are rare or common doesn't matter. What matters is how they burrow into men's minds, teaching them that vulnerability might come with a price they can't afford. So how did ordinary moments become emotional minefields? And what does this mean for the future of connection? Keep going. It's one of the strangest paradoxes of our time. Men are told to approach confidently, yet warned that any approach could be a threat. While some women wonder why men seem distant, those same men scroll through endless posts, labeling every glance, every smile, every attempt at connection as suspicious or predatory. It creates a psychological split, an emotional tug-of-war, where men no longer know which version of reality they're walking into when they simply exist in public. Places that were once ordinary and harmless, gyms, stores, sidewalks, waiting rooms, now feel like stages, where they might be miscast as villains without speaking a word. This constant self-monitoring forces men into a state of quiet tension, making them shrink themselves to avoid being seen the wrong way. So they retreat, not because they dislike women, but because they fear that being visible has become dangerous. And beneath this growing confusion lies an even deeper contradiction, one that's slowly reshaping how men see themselves. Let's unravel it. One of the heaviest burdens some men carry today is the feeling of being reshaped by expectations that constantly shift beneath them. They're encouraged to be strong, yet criticized when that strength is misunderstood as control, leaving them unsure where confidence ends and wrongdoing begins. They're told to express emotions, but when they finally do, some are met with confusion or even judgment for revealing too much softness. Meanwhile, they watch others freely share their preferences, while feeling like their own boundaries might be dismissed or mocked. It creates a sense of walking through fog, where every step requires overthinking. Every emotion must pass through layers of self-doubt. These men aren't trying to escape responsibility. They're trying to understand a world that sometimes punishes them for being exactly what it told them to be. But the pressure doesn't relax once they enter a relationship. In fact, that's where the emotional stakes rise even higher. Stay with me. For many men today, dating feels less like getting to know someone and more like navigating an emotional maze where any wrong turn can cost them more than they're willing to lose. A small mistake, waiting too long to reply, misreading a moment, choosing the wrong tone, can suddenly be interpreted as a character flaw instead of simple human imperfection. They live with the pressure of being emotionally perfect, constantly calibrating themselves while silently fearing they'll disappoint someone they're trying hard to understand. Some men share how partners project fantasies onto them, expecting them to be mind readers, heroes, therapists, and then criticizing them for failing at expectations they were never told existed. And when tensions rise, these men know the danger. A story can be reshaped, feelings can become accusations, and reputations can dissolve long before the truth is even heard. This emotional tightrope leaves them drained, cautious, and unsure if the risk of connection outweighs the peace of solitude. But what happens when emotional unpredictability becomes the greatest threat of all? The story only gets heavier from here. What truly frightens some men today isn't anger. It's the emotional unpredictability that can turn affection into chaos without warning. They describe moments where warmth suddenly flips into accusations or hostility, leaving them unsure whether they're comforting someone they care about or defending themselves from a storm they never saw coming. When a man says he needs space or time to think, it's sometimes interpreted not as self-care, but as rejection, turning a simple boundary into a spark for conflict. He might try to speak gently, calmly, honestly, yet still find himself navigating emotional waves that feel too powerful to predict or understand. Some men admit they've begun shrinking themselves, tiptoeing around their own feelings, afraid that one misunderstood sentence could unravel everything. And deep down, they know the hardest part is this: a single emotional explosion can damage their reputation, their safety, or their peace long before anyone hears their side. But the danger doesn't end in private, because the world outside, amplified by social media, can turn a single moment into a lifelong shadow. Let's go deeper. What terrifies some men in today's dating world isn't just misunderstanding, it's the realization that a single awkward moment can be recorded, reshaped, and broadcast to thousands within hours. They walk into dates knowing that privacy has become fragile, that a nervous laugh or clumsy joke could be clipped into a story that paints them as someone they're not. The idea that every interaction has an invisible audience makes them hyper-aware of every gesture, every word, every silence. Men share how they've seen friends turned into online cautionary tales, not because they were dangerous, but because they were human and imperfect at the wrong time. This constant fear of public humiliation pushes many to retreat into quieter worlds, hobbies, solitude, and personal passions where they feel safe from misinterpretation. In those spaces, they rediscover peace, not because they don't crave connection, but because connection has begun to feel like a performance they never auditioned for. But beneath the emotional risks lies something even heavier: real-world consequences that reach into finances, futures, and the systems meant to protect them. For some men, the heaviest fear isn't emotional heartbreak. It's the chilling thought that love could cost them their stability, their future, or everything they've worked for. They've seen friends lose homes, savings, and even access to their own children after relationships collapsed. And those stories linger in their minds like quiet warnings. Some men confess that the legal systems around marriage, custody, and long-term commitment feel like terrain where one mistake can unravel years of effort. Even accusations that turn out to be unfounded can leave shadows on careers, friendships, and reputations, marks that don't fade just because the truth eventually surfaces. This doesn't make them unwilling to love. It makes them afraid of losing pieces of themselves they may never recover. So instead of stepping into relationships with open hearts, they approach cautiously, calculating risks they never imagined they would need to consider. And as these fears take root, the cultural consequences become impossible to ignore, leading to a shift no one saw coming. Some women wonder, where have all the good men gone? But many men are silently asking themselves the same question. Where is it safe to show up? Churches, community centers, and social clubs, once natural places to meet, have dwindled or feel hostile, leaving men with few spaces to connect without anxiety. Universities and workplaces can feel like minefields, where a misstep even a tiny one, could spiral into consequences far beyond the moment. Men who once dreamed of fatherhood now hesitate, fearing the legal and emotional risks that could turn joy into disaster. Some choose to travel abroad, seeking environments where dating feels safer, simpler, and less performative, places where kindness isn't automatically suspect. It's not that they're escaping. Women, they're escaping the unpredictability that modern dating can bring. And all of this leads to a turning point, a reality that is quietly reshaping the way men approach connection, and it's only going to get more complex. The final truth isn't about blame, it's about a generation quietly choosing self-preservation over expectation, choosing peace over a world that feels unpredictable and unsafe. These men aren't rejecting love, they're guarding themselves from potential chaos that could ripple through their lives, reputations, and sanity. They aren't hostile to women. They're wary of an environment where vulnerability can be weaponized without warning. Some women understand and feel frustrated, but for most men, there's no way to tell who is safe until the damage has already happened. So they focus on building lives filled with purpose, hobbies, friendships, and passions that nourish them without risk. They hope for genuine connection someday, but they refuse to gamble their peace in a world that has made the cost feel too high. The question now isn't why men are withdrawing, it's what it will take to make them feel safe enough to return, and that answer may redefine the future of connection itself.